All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, or good evening, depending on where you are. SQL Dev DB here, and for some reason, Twitch is being a little bit weird. And so hopefully there's not another ad break, even though I just literally submitted an ad break. So if there is, hopefully there's not, but if there is, I'll stop it. I'll stop again just to make sure we are okay. But why am I on today? Well, I'm on because I want to wrap up, or sort of wrap up, my exploration of the IMDB database. It's something I started exploring about a month ago after Brent Ozar submitted it as part of his daily emails. And he said, go explore this thing, it's out there. And so I went out there, I explored it, and I gathered all of the files. I compressed them into very small tidbits so that I could share with you all. I actually did that during a concept stream of sorts where all I did was just type and showed you my screen. Barely any talking, if any. If that's something that anyone is interested, please let me know, because I'll continue to do so. I'm not 100% sure if I want to continue those types, but they seem pretty chill, and I guess depending on the keyboard that I use. Man, this ad is not gonna go away. I'm hoping it does, but just in case, that's absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do is, again, explore that data. We're going to build a few SQL queries, not with ChatGPT's help, but we are going to use ChatGPT for inspiration for those queries. We're going to ask it a couple interview questions. Man, it's going to start. I hope not. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. All right. If you're still listening to my voice, that means ads didn't start. So that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and just get started. Hopefully the ads didn't come through and you're good to go. Let's go ahead and get started. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to ask ChatGPT for some inspiration for queries, and basically have it ask me questions about the data that I have so that I can build some SQL queries about it and just have it be a semi-chill interview type scenario. And then we're going to build a small Power BI report, possibly using those same questions for inspiration for our visuals. But first, let's do a quick tech check. What we have today is the Keychron Q3. I want to say it's the Q3. And now ads are in progress anyway. I don't know. Ads are weird, man. I'm still trying to get used to ads. I just, after many months of Twitch bothering me, I finally pressed a button for affiliate. And so now ads are like taking over and being really annoying. So I'm hoping I can learn a bit more about them and manage them a little bit better. But yeah, Q3 from Keychron, very cool because it has a knob on it, which allows you to sort of turn down the volume, turn up the volume, mute speakers, and all sorts of cool stuff. And then the mouse we have today is the Keychron M7, which again feels like a toy mouse. It's almost like a display model. It feels like that's how light it is. It's absolutely insane how light it is. This is a Logitech MX Anywhere 3, I believe, and I would say it's about twice as heavy as this one, even though this one's way bigger. Super weird how that works, but I really do enjoy this mouse. It's a very comfortable one, has lots of cool features, and again, extremely light. So I'm very much enjoying this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a lot to do, and I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna have all the time to do it, but we will give it our best shot. Okay, so here we have a quick diagram of the IMDB developer database. Basically, again, Brent Ozar sent us all this in one of his weekly or daily emails. He said, hey, it's all available for you. actually, let's go find it in Twitch or in on the internet. IMDB, I think it's called non-commercial data sets. I'm gonna put it in the chat for anyone who's interested in checking it out. You can feel free to. And basically what I did here is I downloaded the entire data set, which is enormous. It's a huge data set, and I uploaded it into SQL Server. But then I had a stream about a month ago where all I did was create ETL for it, and all I did was take only the movies that started in the year 2020 or so 2020 and forward, and I took those by themselves. So the actual data set has stuff from like the 1800s, but I cut all that away. I started with 2020, and then I took those into a particular table in a particular database I called the IMDB mini database. And then what I did was I actually took everything from these green tables here in the middle, title AKAs, title crew, title ratings, but only the ones that relate to the 2020 and forward data. And what I did was I actually created a CSV for each one of those that you all are welcome to download as well. Morse314, it is great to see you. Thanks very much for joining, and you're very welcome. Let me go ahead and pull up the Google Drive link as well, so that if you want them as CSVs by themselves without having to do anything crazy in SQL Server or anything like that, you can feel free to use those instead. Let me pull that up and send it to anyone who is interested. Let's go to Google Drive and let's find them so I can send you a link. Hope you are doing well, Morse314. It's great to see you. All right, so I think, let's see, IMDB, where are you, IMDB? Oh, I think I found it in my labyrinth of data sets here. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can grab a share link, and hopefully my chat lets me paste it here. Yeah, it sure does. All right, you can feel free to download that. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's going to be in the description below. Basically, it has all the data sets, but in a compressed format. Well, I guess CSV is not really super. Element Future, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. Element Future says Rotten Tomatoes is better than greater than IMDb. Sure, if you can find a Rotten Tomatoes data set, I'm sure they're out there. Hey, Rotten Tomatoes is pretty great. I used to have a boss or a director at one of my prior jobs that said he would only watch movies if they were like either above 90% or below 10%. Like that was his. Most of the time he was absolutely right. He was hilarious when it came to movie ratings. So yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. Rotten Tomatoes is fantastic. I just hope to have an open data set like this. But here you have a link to the CSVs. You're able to go ahead and download those and upload them. If you want to upload them into Power BI directly, that's why I made the CSVs, is so that anyone who wants to work with Power BI directly, or if you want to work with websites like LiveSQL, which you can see in the chat, there's a link to LiveSQL. That's a open database from Oracle. It's your own database. It's 100% free. There's no installations. There's no downloads. I'm not paid by Oracle to say that. I'm just a happy user for them. Lots of people know I'm not huge on Oracle because of the big costs that they have, but this is absolutely free, so I can't complain, right? They're doing great things. So you can actually upload those CSVs into LiveSQL by Oracle, and you can explore them there. Element Future says, I understand IMDb might be a bit better for this use case, but Rotten Tomatoes requires an API key, etc., etc. See, there you go. And I'm sure it's all free and it's all, fairly easy, but this one caught my eye after Brent Ozar sent it to all of us, so that's why I explored it. And it's been a long time since I started it. Actually, I started it a month ago and I still haven't wrapped everything up. So I did do this same exercise, which Element Future, you were there about 4 or 5 days ago. I streamed what I'm about to do, I streamed it in Spanish. And so we're going to take care of it all in English today. Hopefully a little bit shorter time span, because that stream was fantastic, but it was also 6 hours. So I was quite tired and hungry by the end of it. So hopefully I don't take that long this time. But it was a great stream. There was a lot of career questions during that stream as well, which I made basically a big diagram of the career path of a data analyst, a DBA, data architect, data engineer, and I even threw in a piece of data science in there because there were lots of people who were really curious about the career path for a data person. A lot of people just think data analyst is just like one thing, but even within data analysis and database groups, I've held like 4 or 5 positions within the data space, excluding being a manager. So there is a lot out there, and they all do different things, even though it seems like we may all do the same thing. So shall we get started? I think we shall. Let's see what we can do here. Let's hop over to my Windows desktop, and let's take a look at our database. So what we're going to do is make sure that we have our diagram up here. Okay, so we still have our diagram up here, and that's well and good. What I'm going to do is pull up SQL Server, because I've already uploaded those files into SQL Server. If you open up the CSV, what you'll probably find, of course, what you'll probably find are these CSVs in my Google Drive. And you can upload these to your heart's content into SQL Server, into Oracle, into Postgres, whatever you want. They're just standard CSV files. But you can also explore them through this database. Oh, I should have made a database backup for those who work in SQL Server. Maybe I'll do that at the end of this stream, just to show what backups look like to people who are not aware of what backups look like, because they're super easy to do. So yeah, maybe that's something I can do. All right, so let's take a look. So if we look at our diagram, what we will see is title basics. On the far left here is the principal table. It holds the core data, everything. I guess it would be normal to say it would be our fact table if this were a star schema. And then everything about those titles in green is a dimensional table, or a dimension table. So it's title AKAs is all the different titles for the titles, all the different titles for the title records, like nicknames for movies. Then we have crew, we have ratings, we have episodes, and we have principals. And then some of those have even more information. So this would turn into, instead of a star, it would turn into what's known as a snowflake schema instead of a star. And basically, this name is an extension of the crew. It's an extension of the principals. And you can even see that it's a slight extension of the title basics, which is our principals table. So there are quite a few connections here. From the crew, you can connect by being a director or by being a writer. So that's an interesting one we can explore. And then from the principals, you can connect being an actor, being a lead, whatever the principals has in it. So again, what I did was I took title basics, and there's actually a stream on that. I don't think I've made it public on YouTube yet, but basically it was just me and the keyboard. There was very minimal talking, except when I reached like a milestone that I wanted to have people understand if they were curious about. But it was just me and the keyboard. So if that's something that interests you, by the time I publish this video to YouTube, it'll probably be there. If you're watching on Twitch, it's a VOD, it's a video on demand on Twitch, so you can go access it now if you really want to, if you just want to hear keyboard sounds instead of me babbling on. All right, so I took the title basics, I limited it to just 2020 and forward, and then from that table, I reached out to title AKAs, title crew, ratings, episodes, principals, and even name basics to make sure I only had the information that mattered. I didn't need to bring in all of those tables, just the ones that were related to the 2020 movies and forward. So that's what we're going to look at right now. It's this one. This database is called IMDB Data Mini, and what it has is title basics. It has all 7 tables, basically, AKAs, name basics, title, episode, blah, blah, blah. And here's the ETL for it that I did. Basically selecting only, is this the ETL? No, this was something completely different. Yeah, just making just fixing some records. One of the things that if you download the raw data set that you'll see is that instead of null values, it actually has the value /n for unknown. And I went ahead and changed all of those, updated them to null. But the ETL procedure is basically just taking all the steps, selecting just 2020 movies, and then selecting everything from the other tables that was related to those 2020 and forward movies. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to just ask ChatGPT for some inspiration, for maybe some interview questions about this minimal data, so that we can explore the data a little bit, maybe build some queries around it. So I'm going to go ahead and pop open Bing just to show Bing's doing its thing. Bing's doing well as far as this goes, which is AI. It's actually quite good. I use it interchangeably with ChatGPT. So most of the time on these streams, you'll actually see me use Bing Chat instead of ChatGPT itself. So just proving that it's really good when it comes to these things. So what I'll actually tell it is I have a data set from IMDb about movies that were made in 2020 and forward. I have attributes such as, and then here is where you can sort of steal a little bit from the CSVs. If you remember, we have all the CSVs available. They're in the Google Drive, right? What I'm gonna do is go to title basics. I'm gonna right click and open with Notepad++. And then at the very top, what you'll see is the column headers. So I'm just gonna take those column headers at the very top and I'm gonna paste them here. And as you can see, the very first column is called tconst. That's not a value that ChatGPT can really interpret. I'm just gonna say unique ID. Replace that with unique ID, and then it'll know title type, primary title, original title, is adult, start year, etc. All those fields are available, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that there. And then I'll also say, I also have information about alternative titles, principals, so actors, crew, ratings, and what else do we have? Episodes for the TV type entries. So I'm letting it know what I have, and then I'm telling it, please give me some questions that I can answer with SQL, making sure not to give me the SQL queries themselves. Maybe I can also add I'll just tell it you are an interviewer for a, I don't know, movie rating company. What sort of like industry? You're the interviewer for a company in the movie industry, whatever that is, whether that's movie theaters or whether it's, I don't know, another competitor for IMDb like Rotten Tomatoes, for example. So I'm being hired as a data analyst. I am interviewing for a data analyst position. Let's see what that looks like. All right, I'm gonna copy everything I just put in here so I can send it to you all in the chat if it comes out well. I don't want it to tell me the concepts. I just want it to ask me questions. See, I don't want it to tell me like filtering and sorting or aggregations or anything like that. But I guess it's fine. But normally I would like modify this to say like, hey, don't tell me what to use, just give me what you want. So let's try that. Don't tell me the SQL concept involved. Just ask me the question so that it's a bit tricky. I want to, so I won't say so it's a bit tricky. Maybe I'll say so that it isn't as easy. I want to, no, that's it. I just want the question. I just want the question, not the concepts. Maybe I just repeated myself there, and let's see if we can do that. Okay, so here it'll actually tell you that, right? So let me go ahead and give that keyword in the chat as well. Okay, so here, now it's actually just asking me like, hey, how would I retrieve all movies that have a runtime of more than 120 minutes? Can you list all the TV shows that started in 2021? How would you find all the movies that are marked as adult films? Okay, I mean, can you sort the movies by their runtime in descending order? These are pretty basic queries. But that's fine. I mean, let's just do some simple stuff for now. I'm okay with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this response, and then I'm going to open Management Studio and just start a new query and paste these in here. Without the whole like got it thing. I don't really need that. So what I want to do is just comment these. So I'm going to highlight everything and just do a quick Control-K-C. And now I have them all as comments, and we can do it right below. All right, so let's get started here. How would you retrieve all movies that have a runtime of more than 120 minutes? That's a pretty simple one. But if you're tired of doing leak code exercises, ChatGPT and Bing Chat are sort of like unlimited leak code exercises on a topic that you want instead of on whatever leak code has. So consider this as an alternative to leak code. Leak code is fantastic, and I actually have one of my challenges is doing leak code exercises as well. So it's not terrible. I absolutely love it, but it's an alternative, and you can use it for data that you already have and data that you have a lot more fun with. For example, man, it looks like this thing. It looks like my keyboard camera went away. Let's see if I can coerce it to come back. Maybe, maybe not. So what happens when I go straight to the keyboard? Let's see. No, it's gone. It's gone. Okay, let's try to get it back. I actually just switched to a different camera. I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, is it like out of battery? Yeah, it's out of battery. That's what I get. I thought it was plugged in. I guess not. Now we go with old reliable, which is my iPod Touch. Let's see if I can switch it over. Okay, we are gonna go to keyboard here and deactivate, switch it back to my iPod Touch and activate it again. Hit OK. Yeah, there you go. That's what I get for not trusting that it's a better solution. So I get for trying to get a brand new phone or a brand new camera. There we go. It's back. Okay. So let's see. How would you retrieve all movies that have a runtime of more than 120 minutes? Let's just quickly get that done. We're going to select top I like selecting like top 100, top 1000, something like that from the table first, because I don't want to retrieve all the records, especially if I don't know how many records there are in total. There's a lot in the movies one. Even though we have films from 2020 and forward, there's quite a bit of data here. So let's do IMDB mini .dbo.title basics, because that's our primary table, right? So I'm just gonna select those first, and then what I'll see is I have a runtime. So runtime minutes, and it's 120. If I want to get a little bit creative, what I'll do is actually make this a bar. And some of you who have watched this before have seen this little trick, but it's a pretty interesting one, which is basically just taking runtime minutes or any numerical variable or value and using the replicate function. So if I use replicate, I can replicate a pipe for however many minutes there are right here. And I'll just call this runtime minutes bar. And now I'll have a little bar here that shows the length. So it's very easy to see which ones are really long, which ones are really short, etc. Just like that. But I'm sort of diverting from what the question was. It's just more than 120 minutes. So where the runtime minutes is greater than 120. And there we go. Now we have all of them. So how would you retrieve all movies? That's when this top 100 would sort of go away. And maybe I can even order this by low to high or high to low. So I would say order by runtime minutes ascending, or just leave it without anything. That's also ascending by default. Why is there another ad break? Have I been talking that long? Man, it's doing really weird things. I'm gonna go ahead and snooze that ad break for 5 minutes. It's not like I can do much anyway. Okay, well, while it's doing ads, if we end up doing ads, we'll just play a little bit of GeoGuessr so that no one misses anything. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and remove the top 100 so everything comes back. And again, it's anything that's over 120 minutes, and we'll see how many there are. There are 7,950. You can see that. Ooh, can I do that? Yeah, right there. It says 7,950. So 7,950 rows that have over 120 minutes. But something very interesting is happening. Morse 314. Oh, thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate it. Morse 314, thanks for the sub with Prime there. You were probably one of my first followers very long ago when I used to do sim racing streams. So thank you so much for always being here. Really appreciate the sub. Thank you so much. Hopefully you found the content at least useful, or at least can be entertained. So thanks, Morse 314. Really appreciate you. So we're gonna go here, and we can see that even though we said it was greater than 120, look what happens when we order by the runtime minutes. What we have is 1,000, and we all know that 1,000 is probably one of the biggest numbers. So what does that immediately tell you? That tells me that runtime minutes is a text field, which is not fantastic for what we're trying to do. So I'm glad we got this question, even though it seems simple, because it's actually one of the biggest pitfalls with using text values to store numbers. So if we hover over, depending on what you have in SQL Server or what extensions you have installed, I happen to have SQL Prompt installed, so I pay for it, and it gives you a lot more information. Like if I hover over this table, I can actually click here, and it'll show me the table's structure in both grid form like this and as a script. So I can actually take the script and just create it somewhere else. That's really super cool and convenient. But what we can see here in the summary is that runtime minutes is a Varchar. And why is it? Well, a couple of reasons. When I create staging tables for data ingress, like importing data, what I actually do is just blast everything with Varchar something, usually 1,000 or above, so that everything lands without incident into SQL Server. And once it's in there, then I go ahead and transform the data to be either numerical or by date, whatever it is. But just so it can make it in without incident, I always bring them in as Varchar 1000. So what do I have to do now? Well, now I have to say, well, what I really want to do is cast runtime minutes as an integer. And that's only if it's small enough. Sometimes you'll have to cast them as big int if it's like a super large number. There's plenty of documentation on Microsoft's website that that does that. That tells you what the limits are. So I'll cast it as an integer and just give it an alias of runtime minutes again. And then now cast is my actual value. So I'll use it here in my replicate. Make sure that works. No, it doesn't. So what am I doing? Cast this. Oh, I forgot to open the cast. That's what I did. There we go. Let's try that again. Okay, so I'll open it as a cast, and there we are right there. Now you can see runtime minutes is still here, but it's still not fixed, right? Well, it's because I have to use it in both my where clause and my order by. So I'm going to do that again. Copy this whole cast and say, hey, treat this as a number. Here, it kind of already did that because I didn't put 120 in a string. So SQL Server did what's called an implicit conversion. And it's saying, hey, because they're trying to compare it to an integer or a number, I have to convert runtime minutes into a number first, and then I can compare it. And maybe even if we if we highlight everything and run Control L, we might see an implicit conversion here, but usually not. This is to get the execution plan. We'll usually see some sort of implicit conversion over to an integer. But what I'm going to do is actually just cast it myself. You can also use the convert function. That's fine too. Convert's just a little bit more intricate, and I really don't need to tell it any additional information other than I want it as an integer. All right, so let's try this again. And now you can see runtime minutes is 121. Notice that the question was have a runtime of more than 120 minutes, not a runtime of 120 minutes or more. So that's something that I always ask my stakeholders is, do you mean January 1st and forward, or do you mean after January 1st? And usually it's actually like January 1st and forward. Whereas like if I'm asking someone about sales thresholds or for sales that are $500 or more, I have to pull the whole actually, do you mean $500 or more, or do you mean 501 cent more or more, that sort of thing. But usually it's implied that it's, you know, $500 or more when they say more than 500. So that's where we are right now. Now you can see that everything is ordered correctly using runtime minutes of 120 or more, ending up in one movie or sorry, it was a TV special. If you look right here at the last row, a TV special that lasted 13,319 minutes. That's a long time. Like a long time. In fact, I want to see how long it is. So what I'm going to do is, instead of runtime minutes, I'm going to copy that value and do what? Divide it by 60. Cast. Or, sorry, we'll just copy it and then we'll divide it by 60.0. And that'll implicitly turn everything into a decimal, hopefully. As runtime hours. Let's see how that looks. And now we can see this is 2.01 hours here. BownerSoup, great to see you, BownerSoup. BownerSoup says happy holidays to you as well. I hope you are enjoying this time with your family. I know I certainly did. I played Guess Who with my daughter yesterday while watching movies, and it turns out Guess Who has changed very much since I was a child. Now it's very difficult to see. It's very difficult to see the because of the new layout of Guess Who. And there's also like a mix of humans and like superheroes or aliens or something like that. So it's very interesting. But yeah, we had a lot of fun yesterday. All right, so 221 hours. If we did the conversion into runtime hours by dividing by 60, what we can see here is 221 hours. There was a one TV special in 2020 that lasted 221 hours. Vallard minute by minute. I don't know what that is, but that was the title of the show. For anyone who wants to see, if they're interested, you can search for. I'm not gonna do it here on stream just because I don't know if it's offensive. It has 0 as the is adult, so I'm presuming it's not offensive, but it's very possible for it to do. BownerSoup says, question, is a production environment, or in a production environment, do you leave the tables as Varchar or write cast in all the queries? Ooh, that's such a good question. I'm gonna go ahead and start the ad break, and we're gonna play a little bit of GeoGuessr. The ad break's gonna be 3 minutes, but as soon as we get back, I'm gonna start answering it. I want to make sure I don't go into, or Twitch doesn't go into ads as I'm answering your question, BownerSoup. Fantastic question. Let's review it as soon as we get back from ads. I will see you in a bit. All right, and Morse 314, if you're still out there, you get no ads. So thank you very much for your sub. Let's play some GeoGuessr together. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. I'm gonna resume the campaign. I really don't remember where I am, but we're gonna give it a shot. We'll do towers for now. Okay, this is definitely in Europe. Oh, this is German, isn't it? This is German. It says Deutsch here. It says Deutsch here, and also very long words that I can't pronounce. So, yeah. Kranken, I don't know. Kranken, I thought, isn't like the German word for ambulance Krankenwagen or something like that? So I think this must be a bus of some sort. So yeah, we'll do Germany, and I think this is like that huge. I remember seeing this tower in Top Gear once, where I think Richard Hammond said it fell out of James's luggage or something like that. That was a pretty funny moment. But I'm pretty sure I saw Morse 314 said German indeed. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go with Berlin on this one because I think it was an 80s. It was like a 90s sedan special. So I'm gonna go with Berlin because I'm pretty sure that's where this is. I wish I had access to like tourist attractions here. Oh, I do. East Side Gallery. It's got to be somewhere around here, but I'm really not sure. Let's go ahead and just guess right here in the middle. Yeah, okay, Berlin. Well, yeah, we were pretty close. That's good. Okay. And beaches or beaches? Which one shall we go with? Let's go with beaches. I think that's a good idea. Okay, what do we have here? I want to say this is more Russian, or I mean Cyrillic, definitely, right? But I don't know many beach areas in Russia. Maybe temperature range control. I'm trying to see if the cars are any indicators. Oh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. Something screams Heineken. We know Heineken. Something screams Russia to me, but I'm not really sure, and I don't want to be like, this is a game that you have to like be sort of careful with. I know Formula One used to race at Sochi, on the coast. So I'm wondering if maybe that's the one. Oh, and we're back from ads. That's great. We're gonna wrap this one up here. It's a Russian beach, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know where. And it could be a beach in the Ukraine area. Oh, something's telling me Ukraine. Should I just go with Ukraine, like a beach town around Ukraine? Morse 314 says South Ukraine. Yeah, we're gonna go with South Ukraine. I like your style. Let me make sure I'm still in Ukraine here. Okay, yeah, let's go somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. Let's try. Hopefully. Oh, Bulgaria. I am terrible at this, aren't I? Okay. Yeah, let's go. Morse 314 says wow. No, GG's. I wish, but F is what we got. F in the chat. All right, so let's go back over and answer BownerSoup's question because it was a fantastic one. Okay, so BownerSoup's question was, in a production environment, do you leave the tables as Varchar or Varchar, whatever you decide to use? It's absolutely fine. Yes, I don't say character, but also like George and game both have G's. So I really don't mind. Whichever one you want to use, Varchar or Varchar, why not? Use them all day. Do you leave the tables as Varchar and write cast in all queries? So the answer to that is no. I absolutely do not do that. I only do it for staging environments. It's the only time you'll see me actually have a Varchars in there for things like that are dates, things that are numbers. I never leave them. But I do bring them in when I'm doing ETL. I do bring them in full Varchar mode. And I do it because it's a lot more convenient to get the data in and then transform it than transforming it first, making sure everything fits perfectly, and then working on that. So I'll just bring them into like a decontamination area or a staging area, bring them in raw format with Varchar 1000 everywhere because it's one of the most universal data types. And then I'll begin my transformation and put them in a final table. And that's how they rest in production. So in production, they'll have their correct data types. And sometimes we even need them to have correct data types because we need the records to fail. For example, if RunTimeMinutes is an integer field and something comes and says X or 330X, then it won't fit, right? And it'll give us some sort of error. We need to catch that error prior to having it go into the historical table. So I'll catch the 3x in my staging environment. I'll confirm that everything is okay, and then it'll go in. And one cool thing is if you actually want to see, like if you want, as part of the data cleansing process, if you want to try to see if something doesn't fit correctly before it even like makes it into that table and you get that error, one of the cool things that you can do is try cast. So like let's say we have original title here and we want to see if original title goes into an integer based column. So if I try to cast original title, if I just say cast tb.originalTitle, I don't know why it's not closing, but okay. Let's just grab it from up here. Maybe just because I didn't spell it right. As int, as original title int. You can probably guess what's going to happen right now, right? It's going to fail. It says conversion failed. When converting the Varchar value, anything goes to data type integer, which is correct, right? But what if I did this? What if I added try cast here instead. Now, what it's going to do is it's never going to fail. As you can see, it didn't fail, even though it would have normally. But whenever it's not successful in converting to an integer, it's just going to give me null. It's basically saying, if I'm able to convert it, then give me the value. If I'm not able to, just pass null back. That's all it's doing. And we can see when we scroll down here, I don't know if you caught it, but I certainly did. There is at least one record that has an actual value here. And the movie is called 143. Which I'm pretty sure like 143 is like code for I love you, because it's I is one letter, 4 is love is 4, and 3 is you. So I'm pretty sure that's what the movie's, or that's what the title means. So how would I catch all the examples of this without having to scroll which one fits into an integer? Well, what I can do is I can use this try cast in my where clause. And I can say, hey, where try cast original title as int is not null. And I need an and here, right? And here I can actually show which ones would be my errors. So there's a couple movie titles, one called 22, one called 302, one called 915. We have the 143, 1921, and 1066. So if you're trying to do a little bit of data cleansing, even within SQL Server, this is a really cool way. Try cast and try convert are both available for you to use. So hopefully that answers your question. BownerSoup, let me know if you have any others. I'm just going to leave this here commented and say try cast helps us find issues in our data. But normally, like the data cleansing process, I would normally do this in like SSIS or maybe in stored procedures, that sort of thing. I wouldn't normally do it like in just base SQL like this. Only when I'm trying to find why something failed would I start implementing try cast and stuff like that. All right, next question. Can you list all the TV shows that started in 2021? Yeah, of course. So again, like we saw, this start year is also a Varchar. So we need to make sure we either use an integer or use the precise value. With the year, you're not going to get there's not going to be too many issues, but it is going to be something that you definitely want to watch out for. So what I'm going to do is actually just copy this query here because it already has all the values I need. I'm just going to add a where clause that says where start year equals 2021. If I want to, I can cast this. And another reason, BownerSoup, that I don't cast anything in production, or I try not to, is because it would not be sargable. For those who are familiar with Eric Darling, Brenozar, they have lots and lots of documentation on sargability or search argumentable. Is that a word? Search argumentability, maybe, which is ensuring that when you're performing things like where clauses, that you are optimizing for SQL Server's engine or really whichever other database, so it doesn't have to keep converting. So a cast on the start year would be way less efficient than actually just casting this as a string like that. And technically, I can cast this as a string just like this and still get the answer. I wouldn't want to, but I can. You can see here, start year equals the string 2021. This query was actually a lot more efficient than trying to cast the start year as an integer and checking it against the number 2021. So you want to be careful when using this with like zip codes or postal codes, because if anything has a leading 0, like I'm from Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, some states up north, in the northeastern US, for example, they start with either 0 or even 00. The smallest zip code I think is 005 or 006 something, which is in, I want to say, Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, has 005 or 6. Those, if you try to just capture them as integers, it's going to try checking against the number 596 instead of the characters 00596. So you always want to be careful when working with that type of data with postal codes. There's a couple other things like country codes in phone numbers, right? 0 something, like the US is 01, 011 I think is Brazil, that sort of thing. You want to make sure you're careful. All right, so we already got our 2021. Let's move on. How would you find all movies that are marked as adult films? Again, these are pretty simple queries here. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this base query again, and then I'll say where is adult equals what? Is there yes? No. This is what I would normally put into a bit column, 0, 1, like IO. 0 or 1, 0 meaning no, 1 being yes. BownerSoup says, thanks for the answer. In my data warehouse, which is Oracle, every column is Varchar. I'm so sorry. You are a very patient person, BownerSoup. The things you have told me would make me a very, very impatient person. So you have the patience of a saint, and I commend you for all of your patience. BownerSoup says, thanks for the answer. In my data warehouse, which is Oracle, every column is Varchar, and I have to do toDate, toNum, etc. for every analytical query, and it feels bad. Now that I'm thinking about this, I want to say we did like a toDate, like a try cast for Oracle together. I think we've done that in the past already in one of our past streams. So that's one thing you could do for data cleansing, is try the TriCast, but in Oracle. I can't remember what it was, what the syntax was in Oracle, and I feel like if I tried to go find it, I'd go down a 30-minute rabbit hole. But I don't know, BownerSoup, if you've been using Live SQL, but I would really, if you haven't, and you want to discover the magic that is Live SQL, it's a free, 100% free Oracle instance right in your browser. I use it on my iPad, on my Mac all the time. I really recommend it because it is fantastic, and you can do all sorts of like experiments with data. You can even take the CSVs I provided here in the Google Drive link. Let me go ahead and grab that again. You can even take all of the CSVs that I provided there and load them into Live SQL. So that's always something you can do. Make sure you take advantage of that if you can. Ooh, let's see. Fix95 S. Hey, hope you're doing well, Fix95. Thanks for hanging out. Welcome aboard. S as well. I'm not sure if S means happy holidays, but S as well. Oh, sorry, no worries. Hope you're doing well, Fix95. Hope you're having a good day so far. We are just here streaming and exploring the IMDB database. We're coming up with, or we asked ChatGPT for some sample SQL queries that we could just do interview style. If you want to sort of make your own custom leak code questions with the data set, for example, the one that I just sent in the chat right now, you're more than welcome to tell ChatGPT or Bing Chat. In our case, we use Bing Chat. We told it about our data, and then we asked it for some SQL questions. So you're more than welcome to do that if you want to just explore the data. And you can have them be as intricate or as simple as you want them to be. Okay, so is adult is what we were doing, right? It was asking us, find all the movies that are marked as adult films. Now, I happen to know this data already, right? But if you don't know the data yet, you would want to see what values is adult has. So if I select distinct is adult from this table, I will know what sort of values there are. Fix95 says, I want to ask about the filter for title type. Go for it. Please. We are all about co-working and just hanging out here. So I am happy to jump into the filter for title type. I think there's actually probably a question, or at least there was in the Spanish version, because I did this stream in Spanish on Sunday. But title type is actually, let's take a look at it in distinct mode, right? That's what maybe that's what you want to see as well. Like what values are there? Title type. So I think these were TV series, TV movie, movie, short movie, that sort of thing. But here we have them: TV movie, TV short, video, TV episode, TV series, TV special. So what if you're curious about how many of each one there are, right? Well, if we take the title type and then we just say count, you can either do count star. I like to count distinct values of the table's key or unique value. So I'm going to count the number of distinct tconst values as unique titles. And then what's it going to do? It's going to throw an error, right? Because I don't have a group by. So what I'm going to do is grab this title type and I'm going to move it into the group by area. So group by title type. And now we can see TV series, TV special, TV movie, all of the ones that we have. But again, what if we want a sort of visual representation of what this looks like? Well, I'm going to format this really quick. And then I'm going to take unique titles again, and I'm going to wrap that in a replicate. So I'm going to wrap it in a replicate, and I'm going to replicate the vertical bar however many times the count is for each one. We can see that that's way too big even if I extend it. So what I'm going to do is divide that number by about 1,000. And now we have convenient little bars here that show us the variation. Let's see. Sorry, I was saying fix 95 and it's FLX95. I apologize. FLX95 says because in the first question they said movies with minutes over 120. You got me. You got me, and I would have failed that question. I'm usually the one that gives the interviews, so I usually put like tricks like that. You're absolutely right, FLX95. This is me leaving the interview sad because I failed it, and I was like, that's even worse, right? It's like being super confident about the question and completely failing it. You're absolutely right. It would have been and title type not equal to movie, as you can see, right? It would have been or like movie, because there's movie, there's TV movie, and that's about it. Videos, you know, but the two movies would be like movie. So yeah. Oh, here's and I even failed the second one because it should have been TV shows. Oh man, I'm just all over the place with this interview. I'm failing it. All right, so let's try number one again. All movies that have a runtime of more than 120 minutes. It's actually 2,000, not 7,000 like we originally had. FLX95 says first is movies and second was TV. Man, I would have failed that, right? I would have been just completely bombed that interview. So yeah, that would have gone very poorly for me. Let's try to be more detail oriented, and thank you very much, FLX95, for showing that to me. So let's do it for the second one as well. Can you list all the TV shows that started in 2021? Well, again, we're gonna have to see what the actual values are. That is adult. That's the wrong one. Okay, so we know all of those. So for number two, all the TV shows. Well, let's be a little bit subjective here and say, you know what? Anything with the word TV can be a movie, or sorry, can be a show. But then now I'm learning, FLX95, I'm learning now. If I just say anything with the word TV, that's going to include TV movie. So that's not correct, right? And episodes is actually something that's too large as well. TV episode is actually an extension of TV series. So all we can say is we have a couple different ways we can do this, right? I can either say I want all of these values: TV series, TV special, TV short, and TV miniseries. There's nothing else. Yeah, TV episodes, I don't want to include it. So I can either say that, and since I have SQL prompt, I'm going to show you something that blew my mind when I first used it. I was like, I can't believe this is a thing. It's so cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the ones I want. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say copy as in clause. And you'll see that title type, when I paste it, it'll give me an in clause right there. So I don't have to type anything else out. It just gave me an in. That's part of our Redgate SQL prompt for anyone who's interested. I'm not selling it. I bought it. I spent my own money on it. So, but it is a really cool one. So I can see right here that it will return only the ones that I selected here. But what if you don't have that? And what if you're just trying to be a little bit creative? An alternative approach would be, let's do and title type. I can say a couple different ways, but the first one, why do I keep highlighting that one? This one is the one I want. Title type, like TV, and tb.title type not in TV episode, or what was the other one? TV movie. If I did that, I should get the same exact stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this or comment it out, and that's what I would get. This would be anything that has TV, but it can't be TV episode or TV movie. So I would still get those, and this is still 2021. So that's a good way to do that. All right. Let's try this again. Let's try it all again. Number 3. How would you find all the movies that are marked as adult films? Again, the only values that are available to us are 0 and 1. There's not even any nulls here. So I would say is adult equals the string 1 because it's a Varchar. I can highlight here and I can see that it's a Varchar. That's way more efficient. Technically, I could also do this, but it'll convert is adult to an integer every single time I run it. So it's going to be a lot slower, or a little slower. I don't know how much slower. I guess I would have to test it. But in a production environment, if I wanted this to be a stored procedure, for example, I would definitely do whatever is most efficient, right? So it can run as quickly as possible. We're just developing here, so no one really cares. No one's looking over my shoulder here. Well, maybe you are. All right, number 4. Can you sort the movies by their runtime in descending order? I feel like we kind of did that up here. Movies by their descending order, like this. But we did it by ascending. So let's try this instead. Let's try copying it down here. And instead of ascending, we'll just do descending. So TV movies or movies. Can you sort the movies by their runtime in descending order? Yeah. Runtime minutes in descending order. Let's try to see how that works. Okay. And then we have the longest ones. The longest one was 1,325 minutes or 22 hours. That's a long time. It's a long movie. Supernova is what it was called in 2020. Very interesting. And we have a very interesting title right below that, which I'm not gonna. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay. Number 5. How would you calculate the average rating for movies released in 2022? Ooh, okay. So this one's going to be an interesting one, right? Because if you look at our diagram, the ratings is a joined table. So I would have to use title basics to get the year, and then I would have to do title ratings to get the average rating. So let's explore that really quick. Okay, it says, how would you calculate the average rating for movies released in 2022? So first, let's go get all the movies that were released in 2022. That's probably the first thing that we should do. And we already have a query for that, but let's just do it from scratch just so it'll be clean. I'll do a select top 100 star from IMDB mini.dpo.title basics. That's the only place I can get for the year, right? Where the start year, and you'll notice that there's a start year and an end year. For movies, the end year is pretty much going to be null, but for TV shows and TV shows or TV something, there's a start year and an end year. For example, if a series runs for 2 or 3 years, you'll see it. You'll see both of those populated. So that's an interesting one. I'd be curious if there are any movies that have an end year, but that's probably a rabbit hole again. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to put you through that. All right, let's go for where start year equals 2022. And you'll notice that I put it in a string. It's again because it's Varchar and I don't want to force it to convert every single time. So we have all 100 of our records. And I'd like to apply my where clauses while it's still top 100, as many as I can, just so that I can quickly get my result. The last thing I want to do is keep applying where clauses to a query that takes like 10 minutes to run. To me, it doesn't really make any sense unless I need that to be the case. So I'll just do a top 100. I'm gonna use another feature from Redgate SQL prompt, which is just clicking tab here and it'll expand to all of my values, but I really don't need those values. So what I'm gonna do is leave it here. Here we have all of our data, and now I need to go get the ratings for every single one of these movies, right? So I'm going to left join over to title ratings, which is, it has an alias as TR. Again, this is another SQL prompt feature. It auto aliases things based on the first letter of every word in the table. On, that's not how you spell on TB, so on title basics, tconst equals tr.tconst. And you'll see that in my diagram, if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see tconst is the key, and that has a link over to title ratings. Sometimes it's difficult to see, so I'm just going to sort of move it over here, where you can see everything that comes out of tconst, one of them goes into title ratings. So that's the join I'm doing, just because I want to be able to represent the data correctly. So the thing about title ratings is I want to make sure that there's only one record per tconst in title ratings, because otherwise when I join it, it might return duplicates. So how would I do something like that? Well, my easiest way to check for duplicate keys is to select the total number of records and then select the total number of distinct values for a particular column. So let's take a look at that really quick. If I'm going to say check for dupe keys in title ratings. How do I do that? I'm going to select the count star, so count all records, from title ratings. Let me make sure I fully qualify it there. There we go. So here's the total number of records, 111,873. And now I'm going to count distinct tconst, which is the key, as unique titles. So I am hoping that I get the same exact number here for titles or total records and number of unique titles. If I don't, I'm going to have to explore a little bit to see why stuff is duplicate and possibly delete some. So I got 111,873 for my count star, 111,873 for my unique titles. And now I am good to go. So I know that for my join, it's not going to return duplicate values here. So I'm going to add from tr, I'm going to add tr dot the number of votes and the average rating. So I'll add the number of votes and I'll add tr dot average rating. And another cool feature is I get to format using SQL prompt. It auto formats it for me. All right, so let's make sure that I have everything that I need here. Here it is, number of votes and the average rating. Here we have average rating of 5.2, 5.5, etc. And I believe this one I had trouble with it, so I think this might be a decimal. Yeah. So I had a question earlier about using Varchar for pretty much every column data type. In this one, I went ahead and just pushed it to decimal to make sure that my values were correct. So you can see that these are actually decimals here. All right. So what was the question again? I don't know. I got lost like I always do for 30 minutes. How would you calculate the average rating for movies based in 2022? Okay. So what if the question was more, and here's where I would ask for clarification, because the thing is, like, each movie already has the average rating. So it's like, oh, yeah, I kind of did it. But what if the question was actually, hey, what was the average rating for all movies in 2022? And before I forget, I forgot to do the title type again, right? And tb.type equals movie, or is like movie. You can tell I'm on vacation today. All right, title type is like movie. Let's try that again. We have our 1,000 records. So let's go ahead and, we have our 100 records. So let's go ahead and release those just to see how many records we're working with here. So I like to get the detail first. 4,878 records is what we have, and we're good there, right? But again, what if we just wanted to know for the entirety of 2022, what were our total ratings, or what were our average ratings? So we have the average rating for each individual movie. Now we want to compress all that together and say, what is the average of everything? If you were in Excel, you could technically just like highlight this column and it would tell you the average. In SQL Server, obviously that's not the case, so we can't do that. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. One of the simplest ways is just to take everything in your from and say, well, let me select count distinct tconst. Let's do tb.tconst as unique movies, and then we'll paste the from here. So now we have how many unique movies that matches our 4878 that we had previously, and now we just get the average. AVG of average rating as average rating, and that's 6.07 is the average. So I think that's out of 10. We can even start adding other aggregates. Let me go ahead and format this. We can start adding other aggregates, right? Like min and max. Change this to min and max too. And we can give everything. There we go. We have our max rate. Our max rating was 10, minimum rating was 1, and the average rating was 6. Now I'm curious what would happen, and I think it's probably going to be the same. I'm going to call this the simple calculation. But I'm curious what would happen if I like exported these all to Excel and then ran the average off of this. Because as you can see, there's a lot of there's a lot of no values here, and technically those should not count. So instead of exporting it to the Excel, what I can do is put this either into a temp table or into a CTE and do that instead. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into a CTE by saying with CTE movies as, open the CTE up, comment out the order because CTEs don't allow ordering inside, and then say select star from CTE movies. Of course that happened. Sometimes it's a bit too convenient, this whole SQL prompt thing. CTE movies, there it is. And now I get to use my handy dandy SQL prompt again. Now I'm gonna limit it, and I'm just gonna say count distinct tconst from that CTE up there as unique movies. And what else? The average rating, right? Average AVG of average. Of course, it's not gonna give me everything. I could spell average rating It's supposed to. Oh, I didn't have it in there. Did I copy the wrong query or something? Yeah, I must have copied the wrong query. Yeah, let's try this again. Sorry, it's my first day. Okay, this is the one that we want. With CTE movies. Luckily, it's pretty quick. Select star from CTE movies. Did I get that wrong? Oh, I forgot the as. CTE movies as. Select star from CTE movies. Use tab to open it up. And now all I need is the distinct tconst as unique titles. And what else do I need? I need the average of average rating as AVG rating. And I don't have to include any of my where clauses here anymore because they're already here, right? They're already up here in the top. So the data set I'm actually using to calculate is a little bit different. So now let's see what both of these result in. Hopefully the same, but I'm not 100% sure. Invalid in the select list. Yes, I completely forgot to group by, didn't I? Again, first day. Yep, there we go. And why did I wrap distinct in parentheses? That was weird. Group by this. And technically, I don't even need the distinct anymore because I have group by in there, but whatever. Okay, so I'm just listing them out now, aren't I? I don't want to do that. I don't want to get the average rating. It's just one record for each one. What I actually just need is the entire thing. Just the average for the whole year, which is right here. Wait, no, am I grouping by something else still? Yeah, I'm still grouping. Man, I would have failed this interview. There we go. Okay, so now let's see what both queries get us. There we go, 6.078982, 6.078982. Now my question is, there's still, we can go deeper into this. What if for this top one that gives me CTEs, I were to only use and average rating is not null, meaning the rating was existing. Did SQL Server automatically do that for us? Let's find out. Yes, it did. It only counted the values. So let's get a little creative here. What if I wanted to tell, like, what if we had a specific scenario in which I told whoever was asking for this, hey, there's a lot of movies here that don't have ratings. What do you want to do with those? And let's say they said, oh, well, if there's no rating, count them as 0 or count them as 5 so that they're neutral. Usually they'll say just exclude them. But if we have a total number of movies and we want to make sure we're including everything, maybe they just want them to show up as 0. So what I would do in this top one is I would say for this average rating, I would use one of a few methods. You can use isNull. IsNull is a SQL Server function that says when a value is null, replace it with something else. The one I prefer to use is coalesce because it translates to a lot more database platforms. So I would coalesce this with 0 as average rating. Coalesce spans a couple other systems as well, so I like to use it. So now let's see what it gives us. Same. Same thing. So there's just a couple different ways that you can interpret this data and just make sure that you're doing things the right way, that you're getting the precise answer. Let's see what happens if we use 5 as our average rating. Same thing. So it looks like it doesn't really care. It's just counting everything. Am I doing this right though? Like now I'm like, nope, it's selecting distinct. What is that? Okay, let's see if this comes through correctly. Yeah, 6.07. So because there's so many 5s, I guess it's not doing that. What if we coalesce this with like 10? Now I'm like starting to get curious to see if I can break this thing. It's still 6.07. Isn't something wrong here? Oh, I know what's wrong. We can put this back to 0 because I said average rating is not null. So this coalesce is never going to find a null to replace with 0. So what do I need to do? I need to remove this average rating is not null filter here. And now, I should probably stop saying and now, because it's like usually very anticlimactic and nothing changes. But now it does change. So if we count anything that doesn't have it as 0, now we can see that the rating went all the way down to 4.48. So this is where you might want to get in touch with whoever asked this and ask them, how do you want to treat nulls here? As 0, as maximum, as average, that sort of thing, because it is crucial. You'll see the rating go from 6.07 down to 4.48. All right, so that was a bit long, but hopefully that helped you as well. Let's see. Can you find the total number of episodes for each TV show? Ooh, that seems deceptively easy, actually, because I haven't truly explored the way episodes work. But let's try it now. I'm gonna say select top 100 star from IMDB data mini .dbo.tv. Oh no, it's title basics. Where ooh, this is gonna be a fun one. Where title type equals TV episode, I think is what it was called. Yeah, okay, cool. So now we have this. And how do I get the episode to title relationships? Is that somewhere else? It is. This is going to be a really interesting one, because what we actually have to do is go from title basics over to title episode, get the parent tconst, and go back to title basics to go get it. Wow, that's really weird, isn't it? That's really weird. Let's try it. Okay, let me make sure I have the question correct. Can you find the total number of episodes for each TV show? Yeah. I mean, technically I could really take a shortcut and just say, okay, well, what I'm going to do is select, let's do an exploratory top 1000 here from, or top 100 from title episodes. And let's see what that looks like. I want to copy IMDb data here. There we go. So now we have tconst and parent tconst. And we'll say for each tconst, what's the, okay, yeah, we'll say for each parent tconst, count the distinct tconst as parent titles. For each parent, oh man, episodes, we'll say that. And then we'll group by the parent tconst. Wow. Okay, there we go. So we can see that this parent tconst has 325. This parent tconst has 8 episodes. And technically, we can kind of just start here, right? The episodes would just have to be 1 and more. But the thing about episodes, well, if it's in episode, that means it has to be in there, right? That means it has to be a show if it's in title episode. This is where things get a little bit weird, if I'm completely honest. They get a little bit weird, but let's see if we can solve it. Okay. Ooh, let's see if these light commands work. It seems one of them is actually off. I haven't had a chance to test these. Okay, floor A. Okay, that's on. So let's see. I've been testing them before the stream. So if I just say exclamation blue. Oh, it's actually Yeah, it's actually working. Okay, and like exclamation orange. Does that work? It sure does. Okay, great. All right. I've been testing out those a program called Lumia Stream that was recommended by Nutty. If anyone watches Nutty on Twitch or YouTube. All right, so TV episode. Let's see. We have top 100, parent T-const, and number of episodes. So from here, we can actually go out to title basics and we can say, hey, for this parent T-const, what's the name? So let's try it. Let's see if we can do that. What we're going to do is we're going to join to title basics. Left join to title basics as TB. That says TV on TE dot parent tconst. We're going to join on the parent to TB equals TB dot tconst. And now for that parent, I'm going to go to title basics and get the original title. But now that means I have to group by that original title too, because otherwise it'll give me that whole error. So now we can see that there is no title for this parent tconst, which means during my poll of like related records, I think I may have missed something. I need to go back and pull these parent tconsts for a lot of them. Or it could be that, I don't know, the episode, because I did 2020 plus only, but somehow the episode aired after 2020, but the show didn't. I don't know. I have to go look at what all of these are in the bigger data set. So like I have this parent tconst ending in 44298. I can go to my original database, the one that's a bigger one, and see what's going on with it. I'll go to title basics here and I'll say where tconst equals that title and see what the air date was. (1952). Maybe it's like so definitely it's definitely not going to be in the tconst in the title basics table because that's only 2020 plus. So I must have made some sort of mistake when I pull these in. I'm gonna have to take a look and just delete everything that's not in that's not 2020 plus. But how do I fix it like right now? Well, I can just change this left join to an inner. And it'll only get me data that is in both tables, right? So that's an easy way to do it. And then I'll go ahead and release this top 100. And usually when someone asks something like total number of episodes, they'll usually be really curious as to which ones have the most. So I'll order by the count descending like this. Or if you're very lazy, and I don't suggest you do this, if you're very lazy, you can order by, again, don't do this, order by 1, 2, 3 columns. So order by column number 3 descending, and that will give you also column number 3. Why do I not suggest you doing this? Because as soon as you add one column, now you have to change all sorts of other stuff, including the order by. So be very careful with that and just do it for ad hoc stuff. Okay, so we can see here this show has a total of 1,399 episodes that has the most. You can also order it descending order to see which one has the least, that sort of thing. Okay. I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna say, don't do this ordering by a number. All right, question number 7. How would you join the movies dataset with the ratings dataset to find the highest rated movie? Oh wait, did I do any? No, I did TV episodes here. I'm okay. I'm okay here. Why did like Safari quit on me? It like completely messed up, and now I don't have a lot of things. Oh, I sure do. They're just in the wrong monitor. If anyone knows a better solution for music than Pretzel Rocks, please let me know. I've tried a couple different solutions like Streamlabs Music, Chill Hop Music, but man, not fun. I haven't found one that I actually like, and that doesn't like mess up the whole copyright thing for streams. All right, so let's go back over here and see. We have everything going, and we never even started the timer, did we? I'm all over the place. Let's see. I should be able to start it now. There we go. Okay. Let's go back over here and try our luck here. How would you join the movies dataset with the ratings dataset to find the highest rated movie? Okay, let's do that right now. Let's just go straight to ratings. If we start with the smallest dataset, it'll be less fluff that we have to deal with. So if I start with IMDB mini.dbo.title ratings, which I will do right here, order by average rating descending. Let's just do select top 100 star. So these are highest rated, right? These are highest rated, and that's an interesting thing. So we have, let's go ahead and expand these columns here, remove the import date. So if these are highest ratings, I still want to make sure that I have just the movies that are highest rated. FLX95 corrected me very well earlier in the stream that I wasn't filtering properly. So that's what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go grab a filter for movies. So right here, here's the movies. And I'm going to paste it right here. So, oh, I forgot my where clause. I'm going to say where it's a movie. And a semicolon that got in the way. There we go. Oh, we have title ratings. Oh, actually, I'm doing this all sorts of wrong, right? Because I don't even have title ratings. I don't even have title basics to do it with. I started title ratings, so I have to join it. So I'm going to go inner join to title basics. .dbo.title basics as TB. And I'm going to say on tr.tconst equals tb.tconst. And now I can use my where clause of tb.title type is like a movie. And there we go. Now we have all the movies, and we can say we can use tb.original title, and we can even use tb.title type to make sure that we're only getting movies. And there we go. But it's asking me the highest rated movie. How does that work? Well, the highest rated movie is a 10. But as you can see, and the reason I like to pull everything without just saying, oh, well, let me just get the top one, is because there are 10. Sorry, there are 17 records that all have a 10. So technically, all of these are 10. And that's what I would go back to. I would say, hey, there's 17 of these. How else do you want to decide it? And then maybe it'll say, oh, well, the highest number of votes as well, because that means people really like it, right? So then I would say, okay, well, let me just add that to my order by and say order by average rating descending and number of votes descending as well. And now we can see Happy Hackers Day has a 10, but also has 165 votes. All right, so we are going to take a short ad break here. Again, a 3-minute ad break, just to make sure that we don't miss any content. We're going to go ahead and play GeoGuessr while we are on that break. And let's see. When we come back, we will continue with the rest of the questions and possibly do some quick Power BI reporting just to get our foot in the door there. Let's take a look. And I will see you back as soon as this ad break is over. Let's see if it goes through. All right, so let's continue our GeoGuessr here. Hopefully I do a little bit better than last time. That was pretty bad. We'll see how it goes. Castles or restaurants? I'm gonna go with castles because I don't know anything about castles, except the Cinderella Castle at Disney World, because I see it almost every weekend. Do we have any websites here? Modified red. Rouge. Okay. Rouge is French, right? So it could be France or Belgium. Oh, but it's... Oh, this is always... This is Canada. It has to be Canada. If it's... like, it's always this... Everything looks like it's in Europe. But it's always... like... It looks like if the US was in Europe, and I apologize, I'm not trying to offend anyone from Canada, but whenever I play GeoGuessr, it's always like, I think it's the US, but I see stuff in French. So it ends up being Canada. I'm going to go with my gut here. Yes, it was absolutely Canada. All right, continue. City squares. Let's go to city squares. Always happens, man. Always happens. Okay, we have English. No, we don't. We have Hamburg. Hamburg, Germany. We have bus. This... should I just go with my gut here and go with Hamburg, Germany? I think I should. I want to say BownerSoup can help with this one, but I'm not sure. Let's go Hamburg. I see another Hamburg sign. It's gotta be Hamburg. We'll go with Hamburg. Look, let's go with Hamburg. We're good. Okay, there we go. Definitely Hamburg. Historical buildings or historical buildings? Wow, you never know. You never know which one to use. All right, what is this? Texas? That's the Alamo. I know because I've seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I know because I've seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure. This has got to be the Alamo. I don't know what the Alamo looks like. Again, I want to say, I don't know what city the Alamo's in though. Is that bad that I don't know that? Something tells me San Antonio, but I really don't know. I think as long as we get Texas, we're good. As long as we get Texas, it's good. Okay, so we're back from ads, and I'm pretty sure this is the Alamo. I'm pretty sure that's the Texas flag, but I have no idea what city the Alamo is in. I don't know if it's in... I don't think it's in Austin. And Texas is such an enormous state. I want to say it's San Antonio, or maybe somewhere in the south of Texas. But I just don't know. I'm gonna have to go with San Antonio. I'm gonna have to go. Let's see. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Like, the only thing I was confident in was that was the Alamo. And I completely forgot that the Chilean flag exists. And I'm sorry to my brothers and sisters from Chile. I have completely embarrassed myself in front of you. I'm gonna go ahead and stop playing this game right now and go back to what I'm actually sort of good at, which is data. Wow. That didn't happen. The last couple minutes of my life did not just happen. All right, so let's answer one or two more questions, and then we're gonna move into Power BI because I want to make sure that I at least cover a little bit of that before we go here. I'm gonna probably stop streaming sometime in the next half an hour or so because my daughter wants to go somewhere. So it says, can you join the principals or actors dataset with the movies dataset to list all movies featuring a specific actor? This is probably a good one, right? Let's go ahead and do that. Well, you're going to have to pick the specific actor. So we'll say select top 100 star from IMDB mini.dbo.principals. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we have any principals that pop up. And what can we see here? We can see that there is no names. There are no names here. So what we're going to do is at least try to filter this by saying category, where category equals actor, but actually not just actor, actress as well, right? So where the category is in actor or actress. And maybe there's like a different one that I'm not even taking into account here, but for now we'll just go to actor and actress to keep it a little bit quote unquote simple. Okay, so now we have actors and actresses, and now we need their names. How do we get their names? Well, we can left join, or let's just inner join here. There's no need to left join. Inner join to IMDB mini.dbo.names. And we're going to say tp dot on tp dot nconst equals nb dot nconst. Why? Because if we look at our handy dandy diagram, what we'll see is that principals joins to name basics on nconst equals nconst. So that's why we're using that. That's the relationship it has. So what I'm going to do though is make sure that I'm bringing in all the columns that I need from both tables. And there we go. Now we can see nconst is coming through, and basically everything up to here is from principals. Everything here and over is from the names. Now, I don't need everything. I don't need what their primary profession is. I don't need their birth year or death year. All I need is their name and their value. I'm going to even remove the import date column there. So now we can see the data that we have is correct. Okay, and do we have anything that pops out at us? I can't think of any actors that I want to show here. I don't know any actors. So what I'm going to do is randomize this list, order by new ID. I'm going to randomize this list and see if I recognize any names. I don't. Andy Chen, Courtney, I don't recognize any of these people. I thought that was Sarah Jessica Parker for a second, but that's not why not? Look, we're just gonna have to pick someone, but I want to pick someone who has a lot of titles. How about Donald Glover? Let's see if we can pick Donald Glover. And TP or nb.name equals Donald Glover. I don't know if he shows up under Childish Gambino here. I don't think he does, but we'll see. Okay, so we can see Donald Glover showing up here, and then it asks which with the movies dataset to list all movies featuring a specific actor. So we can see Donald Glover, we can see the characters he's playing, and we can see the T const as well. So what happens if we join on that tconst, we can join to IMDB .dbo.titleBasics on the tp.tconst equals tb.tconst. And now we can use tb.original title or primary title to get the movie's name. Let's see. We have first date. We have the goof who sat by the door. Snipe hunt. I was looking for the Martian here. Was the Martian? Is the Martian old? Because I know he was in the Martian. It must be old. He was in Mufasa, the Lion King. Am I just thinking time is passing by in an incorrect way? We have Born to Die, Work Ethic, Community Table Read, I guess is a show. Oh, but now Community, I know, is a what? A TV show. So we have to use, now that we have Title Basics linked, now we have to use Title Basics movie type has to be movies, right? Movies data set to list all movies featuring a specific actor. So we have to find Donald Glover's movies. And now we can see he was only in Mufasa the Lion King. Everything else was a TV show. All right, so there we have some questions. Obviously, we could keep going, and I probably will at some point. But let's jump into Power BI really quick because I want to show you how to get a few data sets in here, both using SQL Server and using just straight CSVs, if that's all you have access to. And then we can maybe put one of these queries together in here as well. So let me go ahead and save this. I'm going to save it as data discoveries, questions. How about SQL questions? SQL questions. If I knew how to spell questions, that would be good. And then today is the 26th of December. Hope you're all having a great holiday so far. And hopefully you have lots of vacation time and you continue to have a good holiday. All right, we're going to pop open Power BI here. And what we're going to do is, again, just go through really quick how to import this data into Power BI from the Google Drive link that I sent earlier, right? So you're going to be able to get those CSVs that I sent you and push them straight into Power BI, or if you've put them into SQL Server already or put the data sets into SQL Server already, you can do that as well. So let's open up a brand new blank report. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to Get Data. I'm going to open up the text and CSV. And here we can see all of the different CSVs that I sent you in the Google Drive. Now, the principal table I want to get is Title Basics. So I'm going to go ahead and get that. Now, what is it going to do? It's going to go ahead and open everything, and it's going to show up top here the delimiter it used and the data type detection. Now, I covered this in my Spanish stream, but I want to make sure, and I've covered it in past streams, but I want to make sure that you're very aware of this. Using the data type detection based on first 200 rows, you have to be 100% sure that every single data type that's possible is in your first 200 rows of the spread of the CSV file. Because if it's not, Power BI is going to make some really bad guesses as to what your data is. You might even encounter some errors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to based on entire data set, and I'm going to wait. This is a big file, so it is going to take a little bit of time. While that's happening, what we're going to do is actually prepare this on the SQL Server side. So on the SQL Server side, prepare the data for consumption on the SQL Server side, if I want to go ahead and bring in the title basics, I'm going to formulate a standard select query from here. Remove the top 1000, make sure that runs. Oh, this is the English database. I don't want the English database. That's really long, or really large. I want everything from the mini database. So title basics, I'm going to right click, select top 1000. And now, are my lights still on? Sado 13K. Hello, and thank you very much for the follow. Really appreciate. Hope you're having a great holiday so far. Let's go ahead and change these lights to like I don't know, I don't want to change them to green. Can we just do a white, standard white? So I put white and then it turned them blue. Oh no, that's white. That's white. It might look blue, but for some reason, it is absolutely white. Hope you're having a great holiday. Sato 13K, thanks again for the follow. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to remove the top 1000 and we're going to make this a view. Now, if you're curious as to why I'm going to make it a view before I allow consumption into Power BI, I actually have a video on why I choose to do that. If you're watching this on YouTube, after I've recorded it, of course, you're going to see the video pop open right here. And it's basically explaining why I use views and stored procedures and only allow Power BI to access those except instead of direct access for tables. Convenience, security, and flexibility, I think were the top 3 reasons I listed. That's I encourage you to watch that video. It will probably help you out quite a bit in the future. So I'm just going to create a quick view, create view, and I'm just going to name this dbo.vw to indicate a view, title basics. And then as this code, I always like to put like a quick created by, just for people 5 years down the line to be able to know that I was the one that made their lives miserable with my queries. All right, so created date 12/26, or that they can point the figure at me. All right, description just returns all titles. And why do I do it as a view? Because again, if you watch the video, it'll also explain. But if I want to cut something down to like only the first 1,000, or if I want to cut them down to only stuff that started after 2023, I can do it here instead of having to do it in my report and redeploy my report, right? I want to keep the data that flows into Power BI as small as necessary or as minimal as necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and create this one. It's being created in the IMDB data mini database, and we can see VW title basics is here. Great. So I'm going to go back to Power BI, and now it's already done with my based on entire dataset evaluation. I'm just going to click load. And again, this is the CSV. I was just killing time, but this is me loading the CSV. So if you just have the CSV, you can just ignore the whole part about SQL, although it's probably good for you to know. And here I have just the CSV. Now, if I want to bring in the titles from SQL Server, I just click Get Data. I click SQL Server. Ooh, I don't know if I remember what the IP address is. Oh, here, .20. All right, let's try this. Obviously, you won't be able to connect to this server, so sorry if that's the case. IMDB data mini, I think, was the database here. We're gonna choose import, not direct query, because I want speed here for this report. Direct query runs very, very slowly. All right. I didn't spell mini right, so that's probably going to be an issue for me. Let's try that again. It might ask me for some permissions. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to click database. I have a Power BI user, but I don't remember the password for it right now, so I'm just going to use a SSIS user instead. And let's see if that works. All right, it looks like, did it work? Yeah, it's connecting. Oh, but it's trying to connect to data me, not data mini again. Did I mess that up? Yeah, I have to go back. Okay, data mini. Let's try that instead. And now it works. Okay, it looks like it saved my credentials. So title basics is the view that I want. I'm gonna go ahead and load it. And now it's loading all of the data as well here. So while that's happening, I want to go ahead and import what else? The other tables we were working with were name basics and also title principles. So let's try title principles. No, let's try ratings. Let's do ratings again. So to prepare it on the SQL Server side, and again, you only need to do this if you're working in SQL Server. If you just have the CSVs, you don't have to worry. To prepare it on the SQL Server side, you're just going to say create view. Maybe you'll spell it better than I do. Title ratings. And I think I have to put title ratings too here because I think I already did it in Spanish. I'm going to say created by SQL Dev DBA, and the date is 12/26/2024. Remove the created for, returns all title ratings. Let's say here I only want ratings that are, I don't know, over a score of 5, where average rating is greater than 5.0 or greater than or equal to. Why don't I just do greater than or equal to? If all I want are ratings that are greater than 5, that's what this view is going to return. And that's why it's cool, because you can actually limit the data set before it ever makes its way into Power BI. So I'm going to go ahead and go to recent sources because I already have it in there. And here I have title ratings 2, which is only my ratings over 5. I'm going to check that and click load as an import. And now it went ahead and did it. Now I have my my data model here on the far left side. You can go to your data model and you'll see that title basics actually join to itself. These are two independent tables and they're basically copies of each other. One's a CSV, one's a SQL Server table. So I'm going to actually delete the relationship between the two of them because I really don't need it. The one I do want a relationship between is between title basics, which could be either one of these two title basics, and title ratings. And if you look at already formulated one, I would be very careful about having Power BI automatically do this. Sometimes it does it well, sometimes it does not. So it did establish that it's a one-to-one relationship, which is also a good thing. Technically speaking, if you're in Power BI and you import all of these CSVs, you will be able to create this data model here. So I would strongly encourage you to do so. Go ahead and create the data model, and let me know if you have any issues doing so. So that's one thing that you can do. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and build one or two visuals here and see if they work out. All right, so the first one I want to do is titles by, you know what, we can just answer some of these questions that we had over here in SQL Server. Titles by type, I think, is a good one. So let's start with titles by type. We're going to use any of these two data sets, but reality is you're only going to have one if you're doing things with either CSVs or SQL Server. So let's go ahead and pop a data table open. What I like to do as my very first page when I do a Power BI report is I just like to do a simple data grid. So here I have a simple data grid. Why? Because you'll spend, I don't know, 3 hours working on this report. And if you do a good job, the first question that you'll be asked is, hey, can I export this to Excel? So what I do is I just create a data table as a singular page. And if they want to export into Excel, then I just direct them to that page and have them download it. So we have tconst. I'm going to just drag it in there, or you can just check on it and it'll be added to the data grid. I'm going to say original title, primary title, what else? The start year. And you'll notice that when I do start year, because it knows it's an integer, it automatically aggregated it to sum. I'm going to right click here and say don't summarize. I just want it to be the plain number. Is adult, also want that checkbox. What genre it's part of, the end year. But I'm going to go ahead and fix the end year to be right after start year. And right click on is adult and use don't summarize on end year. FLX95 says this question drives me crazy. I presume you're talking about the can you export to Excel one. After so many years of, I've been working in business intelligence for 14 years now, and it doesn't bother me. Honestly, I'd rather have them be interested in the data and say, can I go explore this myself, than not get any questions at all about a report that I worked really hard to produce. So I'm okay. Like, that just means I'm doing my job right as far as like getting the data over to them. If they choose to export it in Excel, Maybe I didn't put the correct visualizations together. Maybe the analysis is just deeper than what I did. Maybe what they want to do is like some really in-depth analysis, and that's okay. I'll allow them to using this page. So nobody even really asked me that anymore. They just go straight to the data grid page because they know I have one. But I might ask them, hey, what sort of analysis are you trying to do, so that maybe I can make it a part of the next phase of this report, right? And they don't have to do this analysis in Excel by themselves. So it is a funny joke, and it's becoming a meme at this point. But the reality is, it helps me with my job if I just ask them. FLX95 says it's an indicator that the report, doesn't fit the requirements. In all my years of doing this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you produce. There's always going to be some in-depth analysis that someone wants to do that only the raw data supplies. You can't like do every single in-depth analysis in the report. It would be 1 billion pages wide or long, whatever it is. So it's okay. For me, I just take it as feedback, try to integrate it if it's an analysis that is done often enough. Sometimes they're just curious, and that's okay. I have very curious teammates. I'm under the finance umbrella in my organization. I have very curious teammates, and they'll go off and do the analysis. And it's an understanding that if they find something that they like and they want to explore it more or on a daily basis because they want to discuss it with other teams, they'll straight up ask me for that analysis on a page. And that's cool. Just finding out that middle ground is probably the best approach. But yeah, it's I used to get mad at it, but now I really don't anymore. I just provide this and nobody even asks anymore. They just do it themselves because they know there's a data grid page. All right, so I'm dragging in a couple other fields: title type, original title. Maybe I should just do title type like this. Maybe I would also add like this tconst. I'm just going to change it to like title ID or title unique ID, something like that. And then I'm going to add just a couple slicers usually. So I'll add a slicer here, make it very small. And I'll say by title type, right? We were discussing that quite a bit. I'm going to switch this to be, instead of a list, I'm going to save a little bit of space, and I'm going to use a drill down instead, or a drop down. I'm going to go to slicer settings, go to the options, go to drop down, and now we can see that we're saving quite a bit of space here. I'm also going to go to the settings and make sure that they can select more than one without holding down control. That's always important. Then I'll click on this ellipse right here and make sure its search is enabled. Why? Because they can go in here, they can just select movie, and they can click all the movies without having to look for them. If this list is very long, like if it's people, that's a really important one to do as well. Since I have all the formatting down, I'm just going to go ahead and copy that slicer, and I'm going to use it for something like primary title. And now people can search through the titles as well. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, the values. The header, I'm going to make 10, and the values, I'm going to make 8, just so lots more stuff fits on here. And since I like the formatting of this one now, what I'm going to do is actually use the format painter, format this one, and you can see that the letters also became smaller. Okay, so I could also, in SQL Server, if you notice here, we struggled a bit with the whole movie, TV episode kind of thing. In SQL Server, technically what I could do for this returns all titles is I could say, let's try this really quick. Select distinct title type from this table. My music freeze again? Man. Again, any suggestions for music, I will gladly take them. Or like music apps, because Pretzel Rock's not doing this thing despite me paying them. Okay, so if I said next to the title type, I could say case when title type is like movie, then movie. when title type like TV then TV. And you might be thinking to yourself, hold on a second. If you put TV here and it's a TV movie, it's just going to show TV instead of movie. But that's actually not the case. The case statement works in a hierarchical manner, meaning if it finds a hit on the movie side, it'll stop there and not continue. So I am safe in TV movies. They're going to hit as movies here. So that's really an interesting thing. And then when I'm just going to say else other as a category, and we can save this as title type category. And I want to name it something similar to title type just so we have everything. I forgot my end here for the case statement. And now if I copy this case statement and I just put it right next to this as title type category, what'll happen is I'll get each one and what they're represented. So shorts are others, video games are others, and videos are others, but everything else falls under TV or movie. See how TV movie is now movies? That's good. So what I can do is just alter this view. I'm going to use creator alter because I have 2016 and forward. And now when I go back to Power BI and I use title basics, I refresh just that view. And if I had that as my principal data set instead of using the CSV like I did, I would now be able to pull in the category, title type category, which we'll be able to see right here. If we go over here, we can see the title type categories here. So I'd be able to use that instead so that people wouldn't have to keep clicking on every single type. All right, so now that I made my page, what I'm gonna do is actually use my SQL Server view for a few visuals. First, I'm gonna start with a quick bar chart that goes into all the title types like I promised. So I'm gonna drag title type into this bar chart, and then I'm gonna select the unique key of the table to represent my count or my count distinct. I always like to use count distinct unless I explicitly need the account. So I like count distinct, and now we can see TV episodes are the most. And I want to be able to see this data, not just hover over it. So I'm going to turn on the data labels like this. And now we can see number of titles by title type. So here I would say number of titles, and I can just double click on stuff to rename it. I can say by type. And now, why did I choose a horizontal bar chart instead of a vertical one, right? I could have easily just done this. Turn this into a vertical one, because I don't like representing stuff horizontally if it has nothing to do with the span of time or the span of something. Our minds, in my view, and I've read in a couple places as well, are sort of conditioned to read stuff. If it's from left to right, there's some sort of progression that happens. The reality is there's no progression between TV episode, TV short. It just happens to be left to right. So unless I'm looking at time or some sort of scoring system, something like that, that's the only time I'll actually use vertical bar charts. Otherwise, I'm using horizontal. So when would be an appropriate time to use a vertical one? Well, if I look at something like start year, if I want to see the number of titles by start year, I would drag in start year to the x-axis, and the y-axis would be right here. I would right click, switch it to count distinct, and now this is a good one. This is a good way to represent left to right. We can see 2020, 21, 22, etc. are represented here. So let's see if we can answer a few more questions. My little one is already very impatient, so I want to make sure that I respect her time here. Let's see. If we do all the movies that have a runtime of more than 120 minutes, I don't think this is a good one to represent graphically unless I created some sort of category, like a bucketing system that says 0 to 60 minutes, 60 to 120 minutes, 120 plus, etc. That would be a better one. Should I do that? Maybe I should. I'll show you how to do it in SQL Server really quick, and then we can sort of just end there because I want to make sure that I take her over. All right, so let's go back to the SQL Server view for title basics. Here it is right here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Oh, actually, I can keep this, and I can switch this to runtime minutes. And then for runtime minutes, I'm going to create another case statement. I'm going to say case runtime minutes. Ooh, we learned already that I have to cast this as an integer. Runtime minutes as int. Otherwise, this isn't really going to work. So when I cast runtime minutes as an int, I'm going to say when, or actually I need to do it here. Case when cast runtime minutes is between, let's do buckets of 0 and 30. Then 0 to 30 minutes. Okay. And now I am going to put this up here. And I'm sort of just going to copy these cases like this. When it is between 31 and 60, right? 31 and 60. When it's between, let's do 60 and 120. 60 and 120. And then we can say just 120 plus 121 plus. And I didn't do this right? 31 and 60, 60 and 120 has to be 61 and 120, 61 and 120, and then 121 plus. And then here, I'm just going to say else. I'm not sure. That way I can sort of pay attention to it. I'm going to end as runtime minutes bucket. There we go. And now let's see how this looks. Ooh, invalid column name. Oh, maybe I should select with the table. There we go. Looks like we have a couple of question marks. Why is that? Oh, because I left this incorrectly, right? This 121. I'm just going to say greater than 121. Greater than 120. Or greater than or equal to 121 if you want to continue the style that we had. So there we go. Now we have 121 plus minutes. This entire case statement, I'm just going to copy it and put it as part of our runtime minutes right underneath it. Tab it over a bit just so it flows. And now I can resubmit this query or alter the view. I can right click and refresh this data set. And now we should be able to bucket them if we really want to. So let's take a look. All right, so now I'm going to sort of borrow this horizontal bar chart, but instead of categorizing it by the title type, now I have a runtime minutes, and if I hover over it, it says bucket. So right here, I'm going to do runtime minutes bucket. Remove that, and now we have lots of question marks, but then we do have 0 to 30 minutes, 31 to 60, 61 to 120, and 121 plus. Now, something I would normally do when I'm bucketing things like this as well is I would do something like this. A, this one. B, this one. C, this one. D, this one. And maybe something like Z, this one. Why? Because I get to force the order. I get to force the order now. If I right click and refresh this title basics, now what you're going to see is that this is going to be probably still in like that one weird order. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but we will get to be able to force it now. Oh, actually, yeah. Z is first because it's the biggest one. What does this mean? It means that now I can click on this, sort the access, and sort by the runtime minutes bucket. And if I sort ascending, I'll be able to see A, B, C, and D, and then Z at the very bottom, because it's going to order by that first letter because I added it as a category. So this is how you're able to sort of sort things. And this means all these question marks just mean I have a lot of records to fix, right? Technically speaking, I could go in here and see which ones they are. But what I like to do is sort of do something very similar to the data grid. Let's look at the last feature I'm going to show, which is drill through, and then we'll sort of end there. All right. So what I'm going to do is add a data table again. This is going to be very similar to that data grid, and I'm going to add a bunch of stuff to it like tconst, which is the title ID. So let's do that. Title ID. I'm going to add the original title. I'm going to add the start year and the end year, the title type, the category. All of those are going to be added. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to, oh God, is this, no. Now I have to go find it. See, depending on what version of Power BI you're on, you're going to run into this issue. And now I have to search for the word drill through instead of finding it where it normally is, which is right here. Is it like into filters now? This is going to be dumb. Where is the drill through now? Oh God. Why do they do this? Why? Microsoft, just stop changing things around, pretending it's better. All you're doing is making me look dumb. Okay, let me see if I can find it somehow. I'm gonna go to modeling, view. Is it in page manager? God, why would it do this? Normally, what am I looking for? Normally there's like a drill through area here, and you can drag a column in and it'll allow you to drill through that, drill through from one page to the other just to get the details about them. But here I can't. I'm gonna add runtime minutes back in like this. For some hilarious reason, is it here in page, canvas settings, page information? Is it in page type? It has to be a drill through. Wow, why would they? Why Microsoft? All right, so if you go to page information while clicking on the blank canvas, it'll show you as a drill through. You use tconst, whatever the key is from one to the other. And now I can right click and hide this page. And again, why am I even doing this? It's because if I want to get the detail of something accessible for people who want to download it, and I'm curious about what these question marks are, if I hover over this graphic long enough, usually, now I have to take a look because for some weird reason, Microsoft isn't like this new version of Power BI is horrible. But usually what'll happen is a drill through icon will pop up. I can go through that drill through and it'll only show me the records that are pertinent to what I just clicked. So if I right clicked on Z here, it would allow me to do that. Maybe if I do drill through on bucketing, let me see if that at least allows me to do it. Where is it that I went? To the properties of the page? Yeah, page information, drill through from, and then we'll try title type category. No, it was runtime minutes category. There we go. Maybe that was me actually. Okay, if I hover over this, there we go. There's the drill through. And now all I have to do is drill through these and it'll show me just the Z's. Just the Z's. So I can go straight to the Z's. If I want a list of just the ones that last 121 minutes and more, hover over it, click drill through. I can rename the page, but it'll only show me the ones that are 121 minutes. And then I can export those as I please. So people can sort of do their own investigation and their own research. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna make a few alterations, save it, and then I'll work on it another time. But hopefully this helps you out and you can go ahead and start exploring this data in Power BI. Again, come up with some questions from ChatGPT, let me know. Let me know what sort of questions you run into, and how maybe if you get some stumps here where you get stumped into not being able to answer something, I can do my best to try to help out there. But thank you very much to FLX95 for hanging out. FLX95, thank you so much for the sub. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. I just became an affiliate after Twitch bothering me about it for like 6 or 8 months now. I finally hit the button for affiliate on Saturday just to try it out. And 4 subs already, with you being the 4th one. I really, really appreciate it. FLX95. Thank you to Morse314 as well, who have subbed, and I got 2 more on Sunday. I just do this for fun and to help as many people as I can out. So your contribution and your help really helps us, grow the channel. So thank you so much. Really appreciate you, and really appreciate everyone for hanging out. Hope this was useful. All the data, all the PBIX and all the scripts are going to be available in the Google Drive. FLX95, I'm not sure if I gave that one to you, so let's go ahead and get it in here in the chat just in case. You can feel free to explore this. And does it work? No. Let me make sure I get it over to you. Let's see. I have to go to my display link because my prompter from Elgato keeps freezing on me. And now it's off, and now it is on. There we go. Hopefully that helps you out. Okay, if you go to that one, if you ask for permission for it, I'll go ahead and give you permission, and you can start exploring, and I'll add a couple other things there. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, it's just going to be in the description here below. But thanks again very much for the 2 subs here, FLX95 and Morse314. Really appreciate it. FLX95. No more ads. Fantastic. Thank you as well. FLX95 says thank you. Have a nice one. Thank you. I'm going to be streaming probably later today or in a few in Spanish. You're more than welcome to hang out. It's going to be obviously in Spanish, but yeah, hopefully we can have a good time. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate you, and have a great one. Bye.